When the Nintendo DS launched in 2004, it came with a demo for Metroid Prime Hunters, giving us our first taste of what Metroid would be like on the system. Hunters would not be the first Metroid game to grace the Nintendo DS, however. 5 months before the release of Hunters, Metroid Prime Pinball was released, and it is a spin-off that works far better than it has any right to. I enjoyed Metroid Prime Pinball a lot when it first released, and after a rocky start, I have once again grown fond of its difficult charm. Metroid Prime Pinball is a retelling of the original Metroid Prime in pinball table form. Various tables representing the different areas of Metroid Prime require players to collect artifacts to access the impact crater and bring down the Metroid Prime. There isn't any traditional story content contained in the game, and even the manual is pretty bare outside of stating your goal of collecting artifacts to progress. Metroid Prime Pinball does away with the traditional 3D first-person adventure gameplay other Prime games are known for, as it is a spin-off pinball game. That being said, Metroid makes for a fun crossover thanks to Samus' Morph Ball ability. Players will take control of pinball flippers and use them to bat Samus around the game's included tables. Players also have access to using Samus' signature Morph Ball bombs, which play a big part in the journey. The game is broken up into 3 modes. Multi-mission is your campaign mode, single mission lets you practice a single table, and finally multiplayer lets you compete against friends in a race to collect points. Regardless of play mode, each table starts with a force field active between your flippers and kickers on each side to prevent any early deaths. These will fade shortly, leaving you open for the standard array of pinball deaths of losing a ball down the middle or to the sides if present on the table. Controls for the game are decent, with R and L controlling their respective flippers. The left and right D-pad likewise control those same flippers. B activates bombs, and you can see how many you have in reserve just above your flippers on the bottom screen. Y activates power bombs once unlocked, and X activates missiles once unlocked. The final critical control to know is that using the DS touchscreen will nudge your table. It is unfortunately a bit unwieldy to use, but it can save you from many untimely deaths once you get the hang of it. Unlike your standard pinball game, Samus has health that comes into play as you play through each table. Enemies can attack Samus, resulting in a loss of health, and once the meter hits 0, you lose that ball. Defeating enemies by hitting or bombing them can result in a health or item drop that can replenish you, and landing a heal in clutch moments never gets old. You can earn extra balls by reaching certain point milestones from 2 million up to 50 million. Bonus spinners can be found on every table, and depending on where you get it to stop, you may be granted an extra ball as well. Spinners can grant several other bonuses as well, such as regenerating a force field or supplying you with power bombs or missiles. Multi-mission is where you will spend much of your playtime with the game. When you start a new round, you can select between either the Pirate Frigate or Talon Overworld tables. Both have similar playstyles, but are very different from each other. I find the Frigate a much harder table to play, so I generally start on Talon Overworld. But the point of the game is to collect 12 artifacts and score as many points as possible. To gain an artifact, you need to complete objectives such as getting a full score multiplier or hitting other combo bonuses with Samus. Getting Samus to enter an enemy spawning unit and then taking them down within the allotted time will likewise result in an artifact. By hitting certain locations multiple times, you can activate a special wall jump minigame in the 2 initial tables that requires precise timing on your button presses to win and receive another artifact. The game also features a duo of multi-ball modes you can activate to further earn artifacts by landing jackpots in standard multi-ball or collecting all the red and blue Phazon in Phazon multi-ball. Yet another unique way to earn an artifact is to roll Samus over different parts of a table to spell out her name on the bottom DS screen. Once fully lit, a combat saucer will open, which lets Samus come out of Morph Ball form and use her signature arm cannon to take out waves of incoming enemies. Each of the enemy-based encounters has 3 levels of difficulty as you progress through them. As you play through either of the first 2 tables, you will see the enemy spawner change from enemies to an arrow. This change signifies that you can change tables to the Phendrana Drifts or Phazon Mines to progress your game. While you can earn 10 of the game's 12 artifacts on any table you choose, 2 must be obtained by taking on boss fights in these new tables. These tables are shorter to play as a result, as you only need to take out the boss by smacking them repeatedly to proceed, but a few hidden artifacts can be yours if you take the time to find out each table's secrets. These new tables also unlock new weapons for you to use while playing if you didn't luck into them early from a bonus spinner. Phendrana unlocks the power bomb that will kill all small enemies on your current screen and deal decent damage to bosses. Phazon Mines unlocks missiles, which are great for boss fights when you get a combat mode unlocked. Upon collecting all 12 artifacts, you can proceed to the Artifact Temple, where you will get to play with 6 balls at once as you try to open the impact crater. Meta Ridley will fly around and drop bombs on you as you attempt to do so. Unlike other tables though, if you lose all your balls here, you just get sent back to another table and can try again when the transport option arises. This gives the Artifact Temple a more relaxed feel compared to every other table in the game, even with its chaotic playstyle. It is also a fun challenge to get all 12 shots lined up as needed. It is also cool that you could spawn more balls in this level by hitting the upper middle indicator. The final table of multi-mission mode has you taking on the Metroid Prime with a new Force Ball ability that deals big damage to it after it's collected from the top of the table. This is a challenging fight if you can't line up shots, as the Metroid Prime blocks the ramps to the Force Ball with its legs. You either need to hit it with a direct hit from your flippers, or get into combat mode and shoot them with a missile. Once the leg is out of the way, you can launch yourself up the ramp to collect Force Ball. After taking out the first form, you get treated to a second form that is vulnerable to your traditional hits and attacks. This second form launches a ton of attacks, so you can be killed quickly if not careful. Success allows you to continue earning points on the previous tables and unlocks the game's expert mode. Single mission, like multi-mission, only lets you play either the Pirate Frigate or Talon Overworld when you first begin the game. By completing the other tables in multi-mission, they will be added to single mission mode for you to enjoy. Frigate and Overworld in this mode charge you with getting the highest scores possible to put on the leaderboards. For Phendrana, Mines, Temple, and Crater, you need to try and defeat them as fast as possible. While the gameplay style between each mode isn't different, losing interconnectivity of multi-mission lets me down a bit, and as a result, I don't use single mission mode much after easily beating the default leaderboards. Multiplayer is an interesting inclusion for a pinball game, and you can play it with just a single cartridge. Utilizing DS Download Play, you can play on a special Magmoor Cavern stage up to 8 people in a contest to see who can reach 100,000 points the fastest. This table plays like those found in single player, but the who could do it first aspect is quite fun. I just wish that other tables had been available, as it can get boring rather quickly. Metroid Prime Pinball pulls its audio from several different Metroid games. You will hear several songs from Metroid Prime 1 and 2, and several other remixes as you play. Each sounds fantastic and has great quality for a DS game. Sound effects likewise are pulled from other Prime games, so every aspect from weapons to enemies is a perfect fit for the game. Samus's power suit is voiced for this game with several lines of dialogue included. The delivery of these lines does a good job, and it adds to the overall experience. Metroid Prime Pinball is a good-looking game and portrays everything you need in a clean way. By utilizing pre-rendered backgrounds and sprites, everything is given a very clean 3D look without pushing the DS beyond its limits. As a result, gameplay is fast and smooth, and the perspective of each table looks great. Like real pinball tables, each table in this game has numerous flashing lights, and thankfully it never distracts from the action at hand. Since this is a pinball game, you are subject to the general assortment of cheap pinball deaths. This doesn't bother me too much after getting used to the nudge feature, but having it mapped to the touchscreen is abysmal for a long time until you could get used to it. Assigning nudge to the D-pad would have streamlined things so much better. But speaking of cheap deaths, this game has a nasty habit of placing enemy Metroids and Triclops just above your flippers, where you will frequently hit them and quickly ricochet into a death. Triclops are particular jerks, as they will grab you and throw you right down the center of your flippers. Using the nudge feature can help you escape their grip, but again, it can be awkward to activate in a quick situation. Boss attacks can likewise send you hurtling to a cheap death if you aren't prepared. Again, learning how to quickly use nudge will help with these cheap hits, but my reflexes aren't what they used to be. Your mileage may vary. I'm also torn on how many tables are in the game. I feel like 6 is pretty decent, but seeing the Chozo Ruins and Magmoor Caverns get snubbed hurts a bit. Magmoor is in multiplayer, but it should have been added to solo play as well. Having inclusions from Metroid Prime 2 could have also been a nice addition, since we got the wall jump from that game included. But as it stands, the game only has 2 traditional pinball tables with 4 boss fight tables. The amount of replayability you could get from Metroid Prime Pinball depends on how much you like pinball. With 2 main tables, you could get bored of them rather quick, and the boss tables, while interesting, don't offer the same amount of replay value. It could take a ton of time to make it through each table's 3 levels of activities though, so you can easily lose hours to the challenge. Multiplayer with friends could also provide a ton of fun to see who's the best pinball player. Metroid Prime Pinball is a more enjoyable spin-off of the Metroid franchise than it has any right to be. It is an incredibly difficult game at first if you're lacking in pinball experience, but once you start hitting those million-point milestones, it's a blast. Sadly, it does lack in some needed table variety, as you will be playing on 2 main tables for most of your journey. The inclusion of boss fights is unique, and getting to use Samus's various abilities is pleasing. While this is a game that won't cater to most Metroid and Pinball fans, if you like both, it is an easy recommendation. I seriously hope we get another Metroid Prime Pinball title sometime in the future. Thank you for making it to the end of today's review on Metroid Prime Pinball, the absolute best Metroid game ever made. So, if you haven't played it yet, you really should, because again, it's just the best one ever made. I mean, it's gotta have some taste, I guess. I am absolutely kidding, of course. This is obviously not a Metroid game for everybody, but it is a really fun spin-off, and if you enjoy pinball and Metroid games, it really is a no-brainer to check out. But again, thank you for making it to the end of today's review. Hope you enjoyed it, and be sure to do me a couple favors here at the end. Thumbs up, thumbs down, depending on how much you like it, and if you haven't already, sub button and notification bell so you can see when new videos go live on the channel. And if you'd like to help support the channel and keep us going, be sure to check out that join button here on YouTube or the Patreon link in the bottom right hand corner of the screen. Get early access to the videos as well as deciding on what we are doing for these weekly reviews. And after 13 weeks of Metroid games, we're ready for some suggestions. But anyway, thank you to all of our current backers. You're amazing. Thank you for the 14 week long Metroid journey here. 15, I think, actually. But anyway, y'all rock. Thank you for your support. But until next time, my wonderful internet peeps, y'all stay awesome, keep on gaming, and we'll see you all back next video.